Hello, 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 and welcome back, my pretties, to Sod Passion Projects. Today we shall be discussing Black Summoner, if I remember correctly. Yep, that is indeed the name, old forgetful sod. Anyhow, the general premise of this anime is your standard reincarnated plotline, though the thing that makes this one stand out from the others is that Kelvin, our protagonist, actually doesn't remember a single thing from his previous life beyond the most generic of things to reference. Bathing rituals and games and not specific games, but just the general existence of them. I saw someone complaining about that, but I feel like acknowledging that video games exist is fair game. It's not like he's making a specific reference to a specific series made up for the lore of anime/manga, or just referencing a specific island. You can be aware of the tropes in video games, having lost your memories, like you are aware of certain, general foods or bathing rituals. I feel like that's fair game, but that's getting into the nitty-gritty. Anyhow, he has given up his memories in order to acquire more skill points in order to get super OP abilities in his new world. That being the class of the Summoner, a mage class that is able to basically Pokemon various monster species and raise their stats up alongside his own, making them even more powerful and allowing them to evolve at certain stages, which I have to say I'm quite the sucker for. Not only this style, if anyone's seen my Elden Ring playthroughs, you know I love me a good magical summons, but also the whole reincarnated magical RPG elements. When they're done well, I can really enjoy them, even if they're a bit omnipresent in the medium at the moment. I never really want them to fully fade away, but I could do with a few lesser of the lesser fare, so to speak. But yeah, on the whole, I feel like this anime does a lot of things well, even, again, if the certain tropes are, some would say oversaturated in the medium. Nevertheless, via the style and presentation, I have enjoyed this anime quite a lot. I do feel like this is a recent trend I've been seeing with a lot of male lead protagonists I've seen lately. But they're kind of slipping out of the bland phase they were in for 30 plus years for these type of things, where every single one of them had the personality of a wet blanket and was just generically nice. Whereas Kelvin here is what they like to describe a battle junkie. He thrills at a good fight where the odds are stacked against him and he has to do everything absolutely perfectly right in order to win. Otherwise, he's boned. He lives for that and is quite the junkie for it. What else? He gets along very well with all of his party members, which I enjoy as well. I wish there was a bit more establishment for the romance element with some of them. Feels like it's just a little bit shallow and compared to other servings I've seen recently that I think on the whole are a bit lesser than this particular anime that has a lot of good action and all that. A lot of fun magic within it. Again, just the whole battle junkie angle does work well for some entertaining action. Just build up the romance a bit more. That's all I'm asking. Keeping it too generic and vague just doesn't serve well as it does with the protagonist. You need something specific and more refined for the specific mix of characters in order for it to land home for me to actually enjoy these ships, even if it is in the air quotes anime genre. But to be frank, is that more false advertising than it is a genre? How often you see one under that label in anime actually end up with a herm, or how many times is it just, a bunch of love interests like a specific character, but there's only one that's clearly going to make it in the end, and they're just fighting each other for the person's love until they eventually and inevitably go with the obvious choice that the anime has been setting up the entire time. Oh, that really grinds my gears. I just want healthy polygamous relationships in anime. I don't even care about the lewd stuff after the fact. You can never get into it in the anime itself, and I'd be perfectly fine as long as there was a fleshed out, well-defined romance there. That's all I want. That's all I want. Why will it never deliver? It always just goes for fan service instead. You can have both. You can have both anime. Much like the entire conceit of the genre is having multiple options at the same time. That got to me. That got to me. But on the whole, I did enjoy this season of anime quite a lot. Though, of course, some room for improvement. Real bad trope at the end that really grinds my gears. I find it in so many anime when it comes to the whole like reincarnated or fantasy RPG genres of like, oh, here's like a really obnoxious villain to fight our protagonist towards the end of what is like the first arc or season, you know? And then, oh, lo and behold, the actual schemer behind the scenes steps out and suddenly is the big bad that we all have to be looking for that clearly outcasts that obnoxious jerk just then. Like, you know that trope. It's so tiring to see. Something unique with it. Like, what was it? Main protagonist Kelvin. Clive was the jerk one, and then Christian, what was his name? Was the scheming jerk one. It's just like, oh, how would I would love it if Clive were to come back down the line, because slight spoilers here, he ends up just in a torture chamber. Like, he gets saved only to be put in a torture chamber, despite still being quite a powerful mage, capable of wielding magics that could destroy entire cities, and is just locked in a torture chamber to have cursed weapons used on him. I don't know, maybe just this specific guy, if I can ever find his name. I feel like I'm getting close. There we are. It is Tristain. Tristain just didn't like him and just like told him out or something, or just threw him in there without anyone's opinion or consent high up than his and just said he died or something. I don't know. Like, he is supposed to be something of a jerk, seeing himself as Clive, seeing himself as a protagonist and mind controlling women to forcefully do stuff with him, which kind of yuck. Again, I hate the trope so much, and he is also confirmed to be like reincarnated himself. What happened to make him get reincarnated? It's not just dumb luck. You're either like brought in for a specific purpose, or like someone makes a decision behind the scenes, quote, a god or some celestial servant to reincarnate you. I don't know. Maybe there's some redemption arc there in that element of stuff. Maybe Clive, escapes and seeks, sanctuary with Kelvin after being tortured for so long and starts some kind of a reform arc, or just escapes and targets Tristan while he's licking some wounds and just gets revenge on him. Either or would be very interesting to see, instead of just like this standard, okay, here's a little sampler, clear way for what's our next big bad gonna be, you know? Otherwise, like, why save him? Why have him alive? I just don't get it. It's just so weird. Like, to just like interject there. Was it just a power move to Kelvin to say, nah, you can only do what I want you to do? I honestly do not know. What else? Some pretty decent, animation. I do love the magic stuff. There is like some CG fights as well, but I've never been overly critical upon those, unless like there's just like a really, really bad model on display. And for the majority that it's used, the decent models, and they do allow for some more dynamic action that would be more expensive to animate in a traditional style. So I can live with that, you know, as long as it's not like egregiously bad, and it's for the sake of having more hyperactive, fluid combat. Fine by me. I believe that's it. But despite its list as a herm genre, they need to do more to define the relationships with those characters. I feel like the one they get for the most is what is her name? Ethel, is it? I hope that's a correct pronouncing. When Clive just acts like a complete creep to her, and Calvin immediately steps up to bat to defend her, calling her his girl. that seems to be the most defined one, and that with the goddess who reincarnated him, saying it was like a love at first sight, and then once she finally gets like a avatar to exist in that world, because her actual form cannot, because again, God. Uh, that just happens to look exactly like her. He's again smitten at first sight, but there's also what was her name? Sarah, I want to say, which definitely could use some work in subsequent seasons. Beyond that, it's just like kind of nice to her after a tragic ordeal, and only people in the world that really know what's the intricate backstory to her, being the former daughter, the daughter of a former demon lord. I just wish there was some more going on there. It feels like she doesn't get enough time to really shine after the events happen to her. We learn most of this through the dialogue of a demon sworn to protect her, looking for someone worthy to take up that mantle as she goes out into the larger world. But like, she then quickly falls into a second fiddle slot between the various plots and new people being introduced, the goddess returning. There's also something. Another character got introduced just at the end, and because of that is not in the main character list. Oh, there's also a little slime and night guy as well. He was voiced by, Bruce Carey, I believe? Yes, in the English dub, which I just enjoyed. Really enjoyed that character. Also, cute little slimes who don't like that. But where is this? Rion, there we are. Yeah, like introduced in like the third or second to last episode and doesn't have a ton of time to shine. I guess they really wanted to end on this one point and thus didn't want to like leave out of it because of it, especially because she does have a pretty neat scene fighting this giant creature. But again, if I feel someone who got introduced way early on didn't get enough time to shine and have properly developed like character motivations and interactions with the main character, someone getting introduced in like the second or third last episode definitely doesn't. And they subsequent series really needs to make room for like character growth and bonding. Yeah, if it does get a second season. It was only released, je ne sais quoi, this summer, so you never know. 3 years' time, it's like the standard for anything that's on a big shonen anime that gets yearly releases. So if it does perform well enough, it could be getting a season in few years' time. I hope so. I enjoyed it well enough, and to be honest, I'm feeling burnt out on anime I like, not getting subsequent seasons. It's here to completion. Like, say what you will, the Cautious Hero, I believe it was, kind of saw the writing on the wall and was like, hey, let's get some of the opening stuff done and then fast forward that ending in the manga, because we're not getting multiple seasons here, which, while Mitley leaves some things on the cutting room floor, does provide a definitive end for the anime. I gotta respect that if nothing else. Anywho, I believe that's absolutely everything I have to say about this anime, so be sure to hit that like button, subscribe button, as well as the bell down below, and feel free to comment below what you thought of the anime. The night character, Gerard, I believe it was. Do you like little slimes in anime? Cute little slimes running about doing things, and just whatever thoughts you have about it. Now it's time to say ta-ta, auf Wiedersehen, until we meet again. Bye-bye, my pretties.